Perfect. Alrighty, so welcome back to the Young Creative podcast with Revision Marketing Group. Today we have Michaela and Marley and our featured guest, Dana. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Dana. I am the owner of Dana Maruna Photo. I am based out of Arizona and Louisiana as of right now, but I do travel everywhere.
Awesome. Perfect. So as you said, Louisiana and Arizona, correct?
Yes.
So are you from Arizona? How did you get to Louisiana?
I am from Arizona. I've lived there until I was 21. Moved out here because I met my husband. He's stationed at Barksdale here, so that is how I ended up here. Mm-hmm. We've been here for like 4 years. I actually just hit my 4-year mark here in August. And now we're getting ready to move to North Dakota. So
awesome.
That's exciting.
I'm excited.
So are you nervous about that relocation? How are you feeling about relocating and like building a new clientele?
Yes, I'm pretty nervous about it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I just kind of really got my feet up off the ground here about like a year ago. So, and it's really been like taking off since then. So it's nerve-wracking because I don't have any connections or clients out there. But in hindsight, I am a little established. So that's like a good thing. I got like an inquiry for a wedding out there already, but I had to decline it because I'm already booked that day. But I mean, that's a good sign. At least my name's kind of already getting out there in a way.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, but I'm definitely nervous. I'm definitely expecting to be a little bit slow, but I'll take that time to like seek out models and do like a lot of like styled shoots for myself so I do have like content out there.
Right. Yeah. And then just like, I think, how do you feel about trying to find areas you do want to shoot, like visually and like?
So since I will have so much free time when I'm out there, I do plan on like scouting a lot of areas. I've already like saved a bunch of like places in my notes on my phone of like places I've looked at and that I want to see. So I'm not too worried about that because I know it's a really like pretty area and there's a lot to offer out there, and it's like my neighboring states like Montana, and then it's like South Dakota, Iowa. So it's like I'm not too worried about
being able to find that.
Yeah, like
scenery.
There's a lot more around than there is in Shreveport. So
that's true. That's true.
So I'm not too worried about that part of it.
And that kind of brings me to another question for you. How did you figure out your spaces and scenery that you wanted to shoot in Shreveport? Just because it does seem so limited here.
I have like 2 spots that I love going to, and it's like there's just like this big open field in like this neighborhood development. It's actually where we went that first time. So I love going there. It's just like a big open field. And then my other option is actually downtown. So it was just a matter of just like driving and like seeing places that I liked and then actually having a shoot there and making sure like I liked it. But it's just a matter of just driving around and kind of knowing what each couple wants, because it's like if they want more of a city, I'm not going to stick them in like a big open field or like in a state park.
Yeah.
Kind of sense. So it's just a matter of doing your research.
Yeah. I love that.
So as far as with the couples and the elopements, that's your primary focus.
Yes.
And so how did you discover that? Like what was your process in being like, okay, this is what I want to do?
So if I like really like rewind back into my life, like my freshman year of high school, I took a photography class and I loved it. Like I learned on film and like we got to develop like our own like black and white prints and everything and color prints. Like, so that was super cool being able to like take the pictures and then develop them. And we also got to learn on like digital. So I really, really loved it then and wanted to keep up with it. But, like, I think it was towards the end of the year, someone stole all my camera equipment out of the room because we were allowed to keep it there. So I did that, and because photography was my first hour and I didn't want to be dragging all my stuff with me throughout the day because I was like, I don't want to break anything. I don't want to lose anything. Well, you know, it ended up getting stolen, and I didn't have the heart to be like, Mom, Dad, drop a lot of money and buy me more stuff, please. So I kind of just left it after that, and like I've always like loved it, like I'm taking pictures on my phone and stuff, and like But I really got back into it when I actually moved out here because I have a friend out in Arizona. She's a well-known photographer. And I was kind of talking to her about it, and I was really getting, like, inspired by, like, seeing all of her work, and she focuses on, like, couples and elopements and weddings. And I was, like, talking to my husband. I'm like, I really want to get back into, photography. I don't know how to do it, though, because it is very expensive to, like, start it.
Right.
So I was just like, I don't know what to do. And, like, it was just, like, every day. I'm like, look at this picture. I wish I could do this. Like, just so many, like, ideas going in my head that I just didn't know how to, like, do it because of, like, the money situation. Mm-hmm. And then for Christmas, he ended up buying me, like, my first camera. And it was, like, so that was super sweet. And it was, like, a little starter camera. So it got me by for, like, a solid, like, 8 months, and then it started to not get me by. It was not working well. Yeah. But I mean, it got me to where I am today. Yeah. So, like, that's huge. But I always knew I wanted to do, like, couples and elopements and everything and just focus on, like, two people in love. Uh-huh. Because if, like, me and my husband, like, we met through one of my close friends that he went to tech school with. And when we met, it was just kind of like we met. I drove to California to, like, meet him for the first time. I came home for a day, drove back out to see him again before he came out here. And I moved out a month later, and then we, like, snuck off and, like, got married in this old lady's living room, like, an hour and a half, 2 hours away from here. So it's just, like, and it's, like, now we're, like, about to hit our 4-year mark of being married, and it's just, like, I want to be able to document that for other people because, like, I love telling our story. Yeah. And I just want to be able to, like, I wish someone was there to follow me around, essentially, like, everything that we do. But it's just something I, like, really enjoy doing. I love, like, connecting with people in that way more so because it's, like, I show up to a photo shoot, and it's not just, like, I'm taking your photos, I'm gone. Like, I like to build that connection with them.
Hence why you're here.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Because it's really, like, it's so nice, like, just meeting so many, like, great people from it. Like, I used to be very shy and, like, very, like, I did not like talking to people. And it's just, like, it's broken me out of my shell and has made me, like, a lot more social with people. And, like, I'm still awkward, like, don't get me wrong. But it's made it a lot easier for me to, like, talk to people and, like, make connections because there's, like, that common ground, I guess, in a sense. I don't even know if I answered the question.
No, you definitely did.
I just kept going it right on the head. Yeah, no, you did.
You definitely did. And so another thing is, so when we first shot together, I remember the way you, like, seriously made me feel. And I was just so like, happy. I was just like, so I don't even know how to explain it. And you told your story about your husband and everything, and me and Trevor were already thinking about getting married, and the next day I texted you. I was like, hey, be my witness at my wedding.
Yeah, I remember that so well. Like, I remember when you reached out, and, like, we connected, like, right away. And, like, that's one thing that I, like, value so much in, like, my clients that, like, I don't even like to call them clients because it feels weird to me. Like, they always turn into, like, friendships. But like, when you messaged me, I remember I was sitting on the couch with Connor, and I was like, no freaking way. I'm like, guess what? And then I told him, I was like, remember Michaela and Trevor? I was like, she's about to leave. I think it was, like, 2 days later or something. You're about to go back home. And I was like, they're eloping, and she wants me to be a witness. And then he's like, are you going to go? I was like, yeah. And he's like, when? I was like in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But it was very cool to be a part of something like that and then still, like, be friends to this day. Mm-hmm. So it's just, like, building those connections that are, like, so special to me.
Absolutely. Yes.
I think there's got to be, like, a lot of fulfillment in seeing that. There
really is. Like, it's so hard to, like, explain, but, like, it just warms my heart. Like, when stuff like that does happen, and then being able to be a part of, like, people's journeys, and then them being like, oh, like, we want just, like, couples photos, and it's like, oh, now we're engaged, now we're getting married, like, now we have a kid, and, like, just kind of being able to be a part of, like, so many people's lives in these big, big moments. Like, it's so special to, like, grow, like, with everyone.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing for us as young people. I don't know if you can relate, but it seems like as I was getting out of school and trying to establish what I wanted to do for a living, like all I knew that I wanted to do was to make a difference in the world, or, try to like bring joy or be that small joy for someone in life. And I think it's interesting because, like, as we talk about it collectively here on Young Creatives and at Revision, like, it's a passion for all of us as young people, it seems like, to want to make this, like, bigger meaning out of what we're doing. And I think it's awesome, and especially to have somebody on here who's like, oh, yeah, like, I love doing this. This is why I love doing it, is because I love making this connection and making a difference. So... But into that, like, how do you channel your creativity before a shoot?
So pretty much what I do, I have this app on my phone. It's called Unscripted, and it's like something photographers can buy. And pretty much it's just like you could save you can name your session, save it, the date, like the whole shebang. And like there's a bunch of poses and prompts on it. So I kind of like go through that, and then I'll save like a bunch of like poses that I'm like, oh, I want to try this, or like. And then, so it's like I do all that, and then I send out a couples questionnaire to the couples.
Nice.
So they could fill that out. So it's like I'm kind of getting to know you guys before the session, so I'm not like walking in blind. Because there are some couples that aren't like, I mean, like I'm not like stick your tongue down her throat kind of person and like make out for 5 minutes. Like I'm not, because it's just like I feel like in that sense I'd be uncomfortable for everyone. But it's like, it's me asking like how you guys met. Like, are you comfortable with like PDA? Because if you're not, like, I'm not going to make you guys like kiss over and over and over again. But there are some couples that like love it. Like some couples love, like, they're like that physical touch person, and that's like another thing. I'm like, have you guys taken the I can't remember what it's called, but it's like, what's your love language?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's your love language? And I'm like, and if you haven't taken that, I'm like, go ahead and take it. And then that gives me more of an idea of how
I can properly shoot you.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't want to make, my worst fear is to make a couple uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, that's the last thing I want to do. So I send out a questionnaire, and it's like, I'm checking in periodically up until the session, because I don't just be like, okay, you booked me, cool, sweet, see you on the day of. Like, I like to like save my stuff, like my poses and everything, send out that questionnaire. I also, like, now I have like a style guide that I send out, because a lot of couples are like, I don't know what to wear, like, please help. And like now I've made like this whole like little brochure of like,
can I have it? Like,
yeah, you can actually,
because I'm having a real hard time with that.
But like I have like, I don't know if it's like wrong to say, but it's like an aesthetic, like my own aesthetic,
very much,
and like that's why like people like come to me. Like I'm very more so like neutral, earthy tones, like black and whites, and it's like I've kind of steered away from red. I don't know why. I just like, I've tried to like, there was a moment like last year where it's like,
you definitely went through that moment
where it's like every couple was showing up in red, like the girl mainly, because they had like red dresses, and I'm like, this
red lipstick.
Yeah, like it was. Not that it looked bad, it just, like, it was sticking out a lot.
Yeah.
And it was taking away, I felt like, from the couple, because it is such, like, a bold color.
Right.
So it's just, like, earthy, neutral tones are always my favorite. And then it's, like, I'm always, like, don't show up with, like, a big logo on your shirt, hats, or sunglasses, because that's distracting, and it, like, essentially takes away from you guys. And, like, that's the last thing we want. Like, I don't want you paying all this money for photos, and then it's, like,
these aren't capturing, like...
It's not capturing it, because it's like you wore like a bright neon shirt or whatever. But I'm always like, if that is you guys, 100% show up in whatever you want. Like, I'm never going to tell a couple no, but like, here are my suggestions, and like, here's what I know fits my aesthetic, and I'm assuming that's one of the reasons you're coming to me, is because you like what you're seeing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, I had a couple and like love them to death. I just shot their elopement at the Taco Bell Cantina in Vegas in May, and they are the most like outgoing, fun, like bold people essentially. And she like they showed up to their engagement. She was wearing like a tie-dye jumper, and I'm like, I freaking love this. And I'm like, and then she switched into like a more like dressy outfit, because I always give you 2 outfit options. So it's like, if you want to wear like that bold tie-dye, onesie.
that, yeah.
You do that. Like, if that captures you guys, like, I'm never going to tell you no. But, so, yeah, it's just sending out all those things so I could learn to get to know the couples, and then just kind of keeping in touch with them up until then. And then, you know, obviously night before I'll make sure my memory cards are all there and, like, clean, and then charge my batteries, get all my stuff together so I'm not frantically running around my house, like, 30 minutes before, stressed.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you live and you learn. Like, when I first started, like, I had no idea what I was doing because I taught myself essentially, like, everything I know today. Like, I've had a few friends that are photographers and have been photographers and, like, took me under their wing for a little bit. So I got very blessed in that sense where I got to learn from people that have already been doing it for so long. But that was probably within, like, my first, like, 6 months. And then kind of from there, I don't know what happened. Like, COVID honestly happened. And I thought that was going to, like, be the end for me. I was like, oh, this isn't going to work because of COVID. But once COVID hit, like, it actually, like, that's when I really started to, like, take off. I don't know how that worked, but
It did.
but it worked.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I've made so many great friends along the way on top of it. Like, I'm hosting my own workshop in Utah with 2 of my close friends that are photographers, and I met them at a workshop like a year ago now.
That's super cool.
But it's like, I forgot. I lost my train of thought.
No, you're
No
fine.
worries. No worries. So I think the biggest thing I have for you as a photographer is, so you have your pre-session guide.
Yes.
And then you have your, okay, this is what I'm going to do at the shoot. But what about after? How do you maintain that creativity?
Yes.
How do you,
Edit,
yeah, you
yeah.
have to edit, lots of
Yes.
editing.
So a lot, like, editing's like more than half the job, I feel like. Like, it is a lot of work. Like, I love editing a lot, I do, but I'm very impatient. So when I get home, I'm like sending you guys teasers within like 24 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And I give myself that wiggle room just in case something happens, like within, 15 hours or whatever. But I go straight home. I import all the photos because, like, my worst fear is for, like, my card to corrupt. And then I have to go back to my couple and be like,
We have to redo this.
I lost all your photos. Like, I don't think it'd be that bad if it was a couple session. Like, it would still suck. But to have that happen at, like, a wedding,
Oh, my gosh.
that would be, like, my worst fear ever. But I have a camera that has, like, dual memory slots, so if my one card does corrupt, it's backing up on everything else. So it's like, I don't really stress about that. And then I have, like, my backup camera that's on me, so it's like those bases are for the most part covered now. But, like, same thing with, like, weddings, elopements, or couple sessions. Like, I'll go home, back up all the photos into 2 hard drives because I'm paranoid that one hard drive will corrupt. So it's like I'm backing these up wherever I can, and then, like, I import them into Lightroom, which is what I use for editing, and then I'll go through everything, delete, like, all the, like, double photos I take because I'm a big I like to take a lot of photos because I like to get all those, like, candid moments in between. So I have lots of pictures normally throughout my sessions. But it's just a matter of I'll do that. I'll go through everything. I'll try to send teasers from kind of, like, each portion of, like, the session, if that makes sense, or, like, the wedding day. I'll normally send, like, for couple sessions, I'll send out, like, about 10 photos. And then I always say, like, 30 minimum photos at the end of this. You'll have them all back within 4 weeks is what I do for couple sessions. But I'll give you 10 photos, and then it's, like, normally within, like, 3 weeks at the most, for the most part, I do have all photos out. And it's like, if we have a good session, which I haven't had one where it has not been a good session, like, you're getting way more than 30 photos for me. Like, there are sometimes, like, I've sent over, like, 100 photos for, like, a couple session.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think that's just a big part of, like, building that connection beforehand, because the couple's not awkward when they get there. And it's like I play music on my phone when we're there.
Nice.
So there's no, like, I don't want there to be any awkwardness. And it's like I'm always talking and, getting to know the couple, always being like, what'd you guys do today? What are you doing after this? Like, are you guys excited? Because the girls are always pumped.
Yeah.
They're always excited for it. It's always the guys that are, like, nervous or, like, awkward, but
don't know
always
where
at
to
the end of
stand.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, like, always at the end of it, they're like, I had a really great time. Like, I didn't think it was going to go this way, but I had a great time. So it's always really nice hearing that from the guys, because I know the girls are like all about it. I know they're all about it, and then it's just setting aside the time to edit. But now that I am doing photography full time and I'm not trying to balance another job in between this, it's been a lot easier for me to find that time, because I would go from working like 8 hours a day and then I'd go home and edit for like 5 more hours. So it's like, it was a lot on me, because it's like I was constantly working, it felt like. And then like weekends that I'd have off from my other job, it's like I'd have shoots or I'd have weddings on like that Saturday. And then it's like Sunday, I'm like editing all day. And it's like I didn't really have the time. I feel like I wasn't able to put my all forth because I was trying to balance another job. But I was finally able to leave that job in January. And it's like now I've been able to do so much. Like I've been able to make like my style guide, my pricing guide. I'm working like on my wedding guide. Like I've made my website exactly like how I want it to look. And it's just like I've had so much more time to like plan out Instagram posts and everything, because that in itself is like a lot of work. I didn't know how much work Instagram was going to be, honestly. But it's like it is an entire process. But the editing part of it's like probably, it's like, I mean, other than like the session itself, it's like my favorite thing to do, because it's so fun to like see what I took behind the camera, and now I'm able to edit it and like put my like artsy like feel into the photo.
Yeah. So what's maybe something that you want to tell anyone who's listening who is young and maybe feeling discouraged about, taking something or a hobby full time?
It just to not doubt yourself. That was something I did a lot. And do not, like, my biggest thing is probably to never compare yourself. Okay. Like, don't, like, compare yourself to someone that's been doing what you're trying to do for, like, 15, 20 plus years. It's like, they started somewhere, too. Like, we all start somewhere. But, like, my 2 biggest things is, like, don't doubt yourself, don't compare yourself. And it's just, like, just keep doing you and keep, like, pushing forward, because you're going to have those times of self-doubt. You're going to have times when you're like, why am I doing this? But as long, like, in your heart, if you know, like, this is something you love, this is what you want to do, like, you'll be able to push through. Because I've went through those times where I'm just like, because I would go without bookings, and it's like I started to really, really doubt myself. I was like, am I not good enough? No one's booking me. I'm putting myself out there. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then, like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'd get, like, 6 wedding inquiries, and, like, 4 of them would book. Yep. So it's, like, it's just you're going to go through those dry spells. You have to learn, like, with whatever it is that you're trying to do, like, you're going to have those slow seasons or those, like, slow months. Mm-hmm. So it's just learning to figure out when those are, adapt to them, and just when you do have those slow times, like, really, like, kick it into high gear with, like, learning how to, like, be better in, like, your business. So just never giving up. Like, that's my biggest thing. Like, don't give up. Don't doubt yourself. But it happens. But if you have a good support system, too, like, you'll be fine. Like, you'll be fine.
Oh. Well, that's so sweet, because honestly, like, having you as a photographer, my elopement couple session, now another one in September, and just knowing that, hearing from a client, right, knowing that you do make a difference in other people's lives, and you really do a freaking-tastic job.
Yeah, your aesthetic is fantastic. Your work is great.
I showed them your Instagram before this, and they were all like, oh my gosh, like, it's perfect. Like,
thank you,
So
guys.
good. But awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, of course.
And if they want to inquire about your photos, where would they go?
So all my apps, my Facebook, my Instagram, they're all at Dana Maruna Photo. All one word, and my website's danamarunaPhoto.com. I have a TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's a little funny like, at this time.
I'm trying to make that like an up-and-coming thing. I'm waiting for that one video to like blow up. But no, TikTok's definitely kind of like on the back burner. It's not my biggest like focus right now, but all my ats are the same thing, just my first name, my last name, and then photo.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, awesome. I look forward to having our session in September.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But
I've gotten better since then. I'm stoked.
Oh my gosh! Well, thank you so much for coming. And yes, thank you for tuning into Young Creatives. Marley, Michaela, Dana. We'll see you soon.